Hello students of Year 10 Maths General, and welcome to this Exercise 2F extension video, which focuses on the calculation of simple interest in bank accounts. Before we look at the calculation side of things though, let's have a little think about why banks pay interest to their members at all. And the reason starts here. It's that banks make their profit from two primary sources. By lending money out and collecting interest on these loans, just like we looked at in the last video on simple interest, and also by investing money in the stock market or other ventures in order to make profit on their investments. As you can tell, both of these income streams require a significant base of money in the bank because they're just investing money. That's the way they create profit, just by investing money, whether in loans or in other investments that already exists. In order to accomplish this, banks actually use some of the money deposited by their customers. Therefore, banks do what they can to incentivize people to use them and to put money in them. Paying interest on your savings is just one of these methods of incentivizing their use. So because banks need your money in order to make profit, they offer some interest back to you in order to incentivize you to actually put money in there in the first place. So that's why banks offer interest. Let's look at the method for calculating this. So the amount of interest paid by a bank depends on two things. It depends on the rate of interest that the bank is paying, so what percentage interest rate they've got, and also, obviously, the amount on which the interest is calculated. Now, here's a general rule for you. Generally, banks will pay interest on the minimum monthly balance, which is the lowest amount the account contains in each calendar month. So in January, if I was paid $2,000, but then by the end of the month I was only left with $200, I don't get interest on the $2,000. I only get interest on the $200 because that was the minimum monthly balance, the lowest amount that I ever had in my account during that month. That will be the principle when I calculate how much interest is earned for that month. So let's take a look at this in an example question. So here we've got a bank statement, and it shows transactions over a 3-month period for a saving account that earns a simple interest at a rate of 3.75% per annum on the minimum monthly balance. So let's take a better look at this table. We've got some dates in March, some dates in April, some dates in May, and some dates in June. Now for each of these rows, we've got what type of transaction occurred. And on the 1st of March, there was no transaction at all. So therefore, there was no debit or credit. So no money left the account and no money entered the account. But the balance on that date was $650.70. That's the only piece of information we have for March. So let's assume that's the minimum monthly balance. Because after that, no money left the account. So the money in the account never got lower than that in March. Now in April, there's a cash transaction here, and $250 was credited to the account. So what that means is on the 8th of April, somebody deposited $250 of cash into the account, therefore taking it up to $900.72. That's all the information we've got for April. But what that means is before the 8th of April, that transaction hadn't yet occurred. So the minimum monthly account balance for April is still $650.70 because on the 7th of April, for example, this transaction had not yet occurred. So we had $650.72. Then in May, the same thing happened. On the 21st of May, there was a transaction of cash by which $250 was deposited into the account. And that took its balance to $1,150.70. Now, before that, on the 20th of May, that transaction hadn't yet occurred, so the minimum monthly balance for May is $900.70, because that's how much money was in the account before the 21st of May. Then finally, in June, there was no transactions recorded at all, so we could assume the minimum monthly balance in June was still $1,150.72. So I've sort of talked through the answer for A, but let's just take a slow walk through again. So A says, what were the minimum monthly account balances in March, April, and May? So in March, we only have one piece of information, and that's the balance was $650.70. 72 cents, sorry. So that's the minimum monthly balance in March. So now let's take a look at April. In April, it looks like the balance was $900.72. So I would be tempted to just write that straight away. But let's think about what happened. What happened was that on the 8th, $250 were deposited. So on the day before the 8th, on the 7th of April, there was actually only $650.72. So that was the minimum monthly balance in April. Because yes, eventually it did get to $900.72, but before that, it was still at this minimum of $650.72. Finally, we're taking a look at May, and a similar thing happens. We look at the date of May that we have in our table, and it looks like the balance is 1150.72. And we'd be tempted to write that there straight away. But we need to remember that only happened on the 21st of May. So before the 21st of May, the minimum monthly balance was still the $900.72, because in May, this transaction had occurred, but at the start of the month, this transaction had not occurred. So that means the minimum monthly balance in May is $900.72. So that is the minimum monthly balance for each month. And we need to know that because the interest paid for Part B is based on these amounts. So each month, the interest is calculated on this amount in March, this amount in April, and this amount in May. So let's look at those calculations now. B says how much was earned over this 3-month period. So what we need to do is we need to calculate the interest in March first, then the interest in April, and then the interest in May. And we'll have to add our answers together to find out the total amount of interest that was earned. So let's do these calculations now. Okay, so this is a simple interest calculation because we're just doing 1 month at a time. So in March, I'm still using my simple interest formula just like last lesson. It's I equals PIN. So the interest will be equal to the principal times the interest rate as a decimal times the number of years that this calculation is for. So the principal in March is $650.72 because that's the minimum balance in that month. The interest rate is 3.75% as a decimal. So 3.75% as a decimal is 0.0375. So I'm multiplying by 0.0375. And now this part's really important. I'm multiplying by the number of years that this calculation is for. Well, this calculation, it's just for 1 month. So how many years is 1 month? It's 1/12 of a year. Okay, so I need to express it as a fraction like that. So now let's find out the answer here. Using my calculator, 650.72 times 0.0375 times 1/12. And the answer is 2.0335. And I'm going to round that because this is dollars, so it's just $2.03. So that was March. I'm going to do the same process for April and May now, but I'll try to do it a little bit faster. So it's I equals PIN. But now in April, the principal has changed. Sorry, it hasn't changed in April because the minimum monthly balance is still $650.72. My interest rate doesn't change. It's still 0.0375. And I'm still doing this for 1 month. So this is actually the same calculation. Equals $2.03. Now May is where we have to pay attention because we're still using our same formula, I equals PIN. But now our principal in May is different because in May, the minimum monthly balance was not the same as in March and April. It was $900.72. Now my interest rate hasn't changed. It's still 0.0375. And I'm still doing it for 1 month, so I still multiply by 1/12. So let's find out what that's equal to in our calculator now. $900.72 times 0.0375 times 1/12. And the answer is 2.81475. Of course, it's a dollar value, so I'll just round this to 2 decimal places, $2.81. So that's March, April, and May. Let's just work out the total now, because the question says how much was earned over this 3-month period. So we need to add all 3 of those together to find out the total that was earned. So the total interest is equal to 2.03 plus 2.03 plus 2.81. And the answer is $6.87. And I've already rounded to 2 decimal places there. So that's how you work with simple interest in a bank account. We'll just go back to the previous slide and just remind ourselves, we need to find out the minimum monthly balance in each month, and then we find out the interest in that month by going principal, that's the minimum monthly balance, multiplied by the interest rate as a decimal, multiplied by the number of years, and a month is 1/12 of a year. So thank you, Year 10, and good luck with these extension questions.